5, 4, 3.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our August add-on show and tell meeting. Really excited to have y'all here today. I just wanted to get this started off with a really quick bit of administrivia. By popular request, we've moved the date and time of this meeting. So we're going to test this out today, and if this time feels good for folks, we can go ahead and permanently move the add-on demos meetings to Thursdays at this time. If this time doesn't feel good for folks, we can take a look at shifting it back a little bit. So later in the day, um, if I don't think we're going to be able to move it too much earlier. So that's kind of the caveat. So at the end of the meeting, just let me know your thoughts or feel free to email me or ping me on IRC. That having been said, I think we can go straight into our demos now. So we're going to start off with Luca. Luca, what do you have to share with us today?
Yeah, it's not a show, it's a tell. This time I figured that we don't tell anybody when we release new version of WebEx and the polyfill, and this meeting could be an interesting time to tell what we added. So in the recent release of WebEx, we added support for the negated pattern. So you can now include a file like in node modules that is ignored by default during the build. And another thing that a contributor added is being able to select an arbitrary APK when you run on Android. So right now you can test extension on forks of Firefox for Android. And one fork that is available is, as an example, Orfox, that is the Tor browser for Android. So that is good. And we also updated the add-ons linter dependency as usually, and it fixed a bunch of JavaScript syntax error that weren't right. Like there are syntax that are available and they should pass, and that is being fixed. On the polyfill, we released two new versions. The 0.30 is a very big update on the polyfill. We added, Rob, to be fair, added a lot of missing APIs and methods and namespace, and we have a script now to generate those. And we also implemented the send response callback on the on message listener. That was asked a lot because it works on Firefox and is in the spec, so it was confusing and we added it. And we rewrote the README file to be more like developer oriented. It was like providing more information about how to build the project and not how to use the project in an extension. So we rewrote that and hopefully it is better. And if you have feedback on the README, feel free to open a bug. And the 0.31 is a small update on the last release to fix long-standing bugs. Basically, when a web page contains an element with ID browser, the polyfill was not polyfilling the APIs. And that was met by some real-world extension, and we fixed that in the last release. And that's all. Any question? I'm available. The next one is Bob.
Thanks, Luca. I'm going to share my screen so I can show and tell. This is the screen that's used for editing a collection. If you own a collection, you can maintain it. We've been making some incremental changes to the screen, and what I'm going to be showing you now is something that's going to be landing next week, the final version, but a lot of these little changes are already in place. So this is what we're looking at now is the regular collection view in read-only mode, but because I'm the owner of the collection, there's a button on the left-hand side that says edit this collection. So I can click on that button and it will take me into edit mode. So one of the things we did a little while ago is that search bar that you see at the top in its own card that is used to add add-ons to the collection. That used to be over on the left-hand side, and that was causing a bit of confusion. So we moved it above the list of add-ons. So if I want to add a new add-on to a collection, I can select it from the list. It will get added, and I'll get a little notification telling me that it was added, and that notification will fade out after approximately 5 seconds. As well, if I remove an add-on from the list, I'll also get a notification up there that tells me that it's been removed, and again, that will fade away. Those changes take effect immediately. It's saved automatically. There's no need to save it, and for that reason, there's no save button here. You basically just either add or remove, and it happens automatically. If I want to make changes to the details of the collection, the name of the collection, the description, or the slug, which is like the shortcut, then I can click on this Edit Collection Details button. And now instead of looking at the details, it switches to a form. By default, the Save button is not is disabled because I haven't made any changes. There isn't actually anything to save here right now. But if I go ahead and make a change, then the Save button becomes active. If I decide I don't want that change anymore, I can just click the Cancel button, which will just basically take me back to the Details view on the left-hand side, but you'll notice I'm still editing the collection on the right-hand side. If I decide that I'm totally done with editing the collection, we have this Back to Collection link on the left-hand side, which will take me back to the details. And just one more thing, what I didn't show you is editing and saving. So if instead of canceling, I decide to save, if I click Save Changes, again, it will revert that form back to the read-only version on the left-hand side. You can see that my description's been updated. But again, I'm still in edit mode on the right-hand side. This was a little bit confusing for people because the left-hand side and the right-hand side kind of operate independently. On the right-hand side, when you're maintaining add-ons, if you add or remove add-ons, or even leave a note, like for example, I can add a note to this add-on, and when I save it, that will just be saved automatically. So everything saves automatically on the right-hand side, whereas on the left-hand side, we have the different paradigm where you have a form and you make changes, and then you have to click the Save button. And so we've sort of tried to design this with the Back to Collection button so it's not confusing to people, and people will hopefully understand the way this works and won't expect that changes made on the right-hand side are only temporary and need to be saved. So that pretty much covers that. I feel like maybe I described it as being more confusing than it actually is. It was a lot more confusing before we made these changes, I'll just say that. And I think it works pretty well now. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I had a question about the user comment. So is that does that comment get shared back with the developer? That's not like a rating. It's not like tied to the add-on rating, right? It's just like, I love this extension. It is my favorite. Like
it's not tied to the add-on itself in any way. Like the developer doesn't find out about it. It's not like a review. It is a note for the collection itself. So if I go back to collection now, you'll see in the read-only version, any notes that I've added will show up with add-on note. So it's a note that the person who created the collection, it's what they have to say about this add-on. Like, this is why I added it to my collection, because I think it's awesome.
Okay. Super cool. Can start making those notes on Tabby Cat in some collections.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
Yay.
I will unshare my screen.
Any other questions for Bob about collections? Okay, super cool. Let's turn it over to Andrew Williamson.
Hello. Okay, I'm gonna do, which is always a bad thing, I'm gonna do a live demo, and this is gonna work or isn't gonna work, so let's see how far I get. So I'm gonna share my screen first. One moment. How do I do this again? Share screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
We got it.
Okay. Is it readable and that? Make it a bit bigger. Okay. So what a Kismet is, if you're not aware, which I wasn't until very recently, is it's a spam checker. So it was originally designed for blogs. So content is added to a blog, comments, etc., and it automatically looks at the content and makes a decision if the content is spam or not. And we're going to use it to automatically see if content posted to AMO is spam. Eventually, it's going to be ratings and add-ons and collections. but for the moment it's just ratings. So I'm going to demo the rating side of it, and the admin interface that kind of we can use to see what's going on with it. So first I am going to add a review. This is legacy front end because I was too lazy to get the new front end set up, and this is much easier for me. It does work in the new front end as well. It's just this was just slightly easier. Okay, so I'm going to write a review. I did a bit of playing around before to work out what kind of things will be triggered. So I know that if I mention lots of making money and mention, you know, buying drugs on the internet, pharmaceuticals, I know this will trigger it because it triggered it last time. So I'm going to write that as my review, which of course is a review I leave on lots of add-ons if you've seen my content. So we're going to submit this, and it's been submitted as normal, but in the background it is actually being submitted to a Kismet. So we're going to AML admin Django admin interface. So if I hit refresh, it should show up as the top one, and that's that one there. It's a user review type. That's the comment that was posted. The result column actually shows what a Kismet decided it was. It says maybe spam. Sometimes it actually has a higher threshold. It says things are definitely spam. I've not managed to work out what combination of words I need to use to make it say it's definitely spam. I mean, that seems pretty spammy to me, but anyway. So if we actually click on that, we can see exactly what was submitted. It submits the user agent, referrer, my name, my email address, the comments, when it was modified, and so on and so on. So that's been submitted to Kismet, and because it came back as maybe spam, we've actually flagged it automatically. We're going to do the reviewer tools, it's flagged automatically as spam. So our manual people can go in and say, yes, that's spam, and delete the review. Maybe a future version will do something automatically, but we didn't want to kind of automate it too much in case Kismet got some things wrong and started deleting reviews. So for the time being, it just flags it, and someone has to manually say, yeah, that's actually definitely spam. And the review moderation is the same as before. I've not tried that. It just links into the existing moderation tool. If though it's been flagged as spam and we don't think that is spam, in the Django admin interface, you can actually submit the report. You press submit spam to submit ham to Kismet because it's spam already. Then that then gets submitted off to Kismet, and in theory, if this was a live setup interface, it would actually kind of build on their machine learning to let them know that this isn't spam, even though it's been flagged by it. So on future occasions, it would be better at kind of learning what isn't and isn't spam. This is actually linked up to Kismet, but you can pass like a setting that's called test. It doesn't alter the settings, and that's the way it's currently being set up. Okay, that's it. Anyone got any questions?
That's very cool. I was just gonna ask, is the reviewer tools gonna also have, or like, are you thinking the reviewer tools would have a button to say that something is not spam, so that they, you know, like, I don't know if they wouldn't be going to Django admin, right? So if a reviewer can.
Yeah, that will be a cool thing. That's not being requested in the PRD or whatever the issue for this initial version, but yeah, I mean, it's theoretically possible. We could link that part back into the review moderation. So if someone says this isn't spam, keep review, it then feeds that back and does that part automatically. At the moment,
So,
go on.
Yeah, I was going to ask what it does in the moment. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so at the moment they only submit ham and submit spam. interface is via Django admin, which is kind of the idea is that Andreas and Philip would, or someone else who has access to that, would kind of do that feedback mechanism.
Got it.
I had a question. I'm not really familiar with the review moderation stuff, so this is probably something that was decided on a while ago. But so the way I understand it, that review will appear on the site, and it's only if a moderator says to delete it that it will go away. That's the way it works currently.
Yep, that's right.
So has any thought been given to not having it show up by default and only appear if a moderator says it's okay?
That could happen.
I don't know how
Yeah,
big a problem this is, but that would, I don't know how quickly these things get moderated, but I wonder if there's a concern about it staying on the site for some time until someone finally gets around to moderating it.
Yep, that could happen as well. That wasn't one of the initial requests, but yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't be done. Because Akismet has a way of saying something is definitely spam and maybe spam, there was kind of an idea maybe we would treat those differently. Like if it's definitely spam, we'd do something differently, and if it was maybe spam. But yeah, in theory we could do that. It would probably need a bit of rework in how reviews are handled. At the moment, kind of a review is, a rating is there straight away, and it's only hidden once it's deleted. But it's software, anything's possible, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you could theoretically show it for the user who submitted it, so it would appear to them as if it had been submitted. But I guess if they were then to log out or to log on with a different name and check to see if their review was there, they'd see it wasn't there, and then they might try to. I can see how there are wrinkles to that solution, but I just thought it might be an interesting thing to think about if it's a big problem getting lots of spam. If it's not, then.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. I mean, there's no reason why it couldn't be kind of, your review has been received and it's been awaiting moderation. I think that's probably a fairly standard flow for a lot of systems. There's actually a lot. I did the rating review one first because it was quite straightforward in existing tools. It gets a lot more complicated with things like add-ons, where we don't have any moderation system. So the add-on is either created or not. But yeah, these are all interesting things we could maybe do in the future. I hope Jorge's taking notes.
Of course.
Cool, thanks.
Always.
So for those who don't know, currently the review listing on the site has like a flag link, and then so people could manually say this is spam. That's one of the options there.
Yeah.
Andrew, I'm just curious, what kind of, I don't know, like, do you have a rough idea of what that frequency is where things get flagged for spam now?
I don't. Does Jorge have an idea?
Not really. So spam tends to be seasonal, I guess. Like we tend to get like a bunch of spam all at once, and then it kind of goes away for a long time. So it's not like a regular thing. And yeah, I don't think we have good stats. Like we can just query from the database, but yeah, I don't have any good numbers up hand.
So like people will flag, I don't know, things get flagged a lot, but like what gets weird is when you start seeing abusive behaviors in user reviews. So you'll have somebody who just goes down and will flag like every single review for no script because they've decided that they hate it. And like, so stuff gets like really weird really quickly when you're adminning the like stuff that people have flagged for moderation. That probably doesn't answer your initial question, but it's very bizarre to me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I don't think there's really any. There's not been much thought as changing the existing kind of moderation setup. So the existing flagging kind of system. So I guess that would stay. I don't know if maybe we would, in some point in the future, kind of I mean, maybe we wouldn't need the spam option. That would kind of be handled automatically, and it would be other types. So yeah, but I guess we still need some way of being able to let. I mean, because it's never going to replace people in terms of knowing what isn't acceptable. So
yeah, I think we need to first just see how this works and see where we need to make adjustments.
I'm just going to +1 the idea of having the people who are in the system, like looking at the spam stuff, being able to send some feedback about whether something is spam or not spam. So I'm just a +1 on that request. Cool. Any other questions for Andrew? Okay, super neat. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to share? Okay, super cool. I think we can go ahead and wrap it up then. Like we said at the top of the meeting, I'm open to feedback if this time works for you, if this time doesn't work for you, if you would prefer it to be at another time. I can't make any promises right now, but I'm certainly open to feedback about this time slot and how we should, and if we need to make any adjustments in the future. Otherwise, thanks everybody for taking some time on Thursday to join us, and we'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.